Yo, it is I, Lovestar Jones, back with episode 5, Spatial Deformity. I'm gonna adjust my headband, or my necklace / headband, whatever you want to call it. So, today's lesson is going to be about the concept of strength. And I want to espouse in the concept of strength being more of a concept than an absolute, and most certainly from my perspective not what should govern our reality in terms of legitimacy overall, right? So I'm gonna do this one a little bit different at times. I'll kick in with rhymes where it makes sense. It's just the way I want to invent. But I don't want to be too cryptic. I want you to get it. It's almost like a book I haven't written yet is turning up pages. But it might take ages. It might take ages. Still, I must write it until the void is spaceless. Anywho, so right now, I stand amongst a multitude of concrete. Simple concept concrete, very hard surface material. You fall on it, you break something. You try to go against it with just your hands, you break them. You try to step through it with your leg, it breaks. Or you get the concept of trying to elucidate. It's a strong material, something to be noted. And then for a second, wherever you are, I want you to think about how much concrete you've seen in your entire life. Probably a lot. We're surrounded by quite a bit of it. And now I want you to think about nature. I want you to think about nature. Okay, so common misconception is that things that are like, strong within the concept of modern marvels can outrival nature. But here's a concept I want you to think about, right? Something I think about. I used to make this kind of a joke. Not really a joke, not a joke, but a bit of a jokey joke. And the basic concept is a blade of grass can whoop your ass. And what that means is a blade of grass is not to be seen as weak conceptually, from my point of view. Small in nature, not taking up a lot of, surface area, whatever you want to call it. But grass grows very strongly, and plants grow very strongly as well. So the next time you're near concrete, I would suggest taking a look at the cracks in between the concrete, right? And seeing what's growing out of and through damn near the concrete itself. For now, I'll say it just grows through cracks, like the little side cracks in the concrete. Because I thought about it, and I'm not sure if I've seen it like bust through and make a crack. But I think in some of these parking lots, grass be like cutting through either concrete or that material that's in like parking lots, that black, the asphalt, whatever it is. It cuts through. And you would think, looking at grass, a blade of grass is very soft and delicate. But somehow, one day, it said, you know what? Kaboom! And it cut through that very hard material that we as humans, with all of our might and strength, well, there are those who can like do feats of strength and like punch through blocks and things of that nature. But it's just interesting. It's interesting dichotomy of energy, in that for us to do something of that nature, to make a dent, it requires like our biggest, most physicalist feat. And for grass, it's just like, I need about a week, I think that's so funny. That's so funny to me because it's like, it's just that was a nice universal rhyme right there. You know, for us it's like, but grass is like, you know, because it's grass. It probably finds the little nooks and crannies that are in there, and just is like, I'll go through this and that and this and that, and boop, and I'm out. You know, kind of thing. So, but what that doesn't mean, hilariously, interestingly, when you think about it, is that it doesn't mean you can take a blade of grass and make it break concrete by hitting the concrete with the blade of grass either. However, it is still true that grass grows through these cracks in the concrete and may even make cracks in concrete. At very least, we know it grows through the side portion, which, as I'm looking at one, don't seem to be too open to grass coming in and doing things, or other plants. But yet these two things happen. But yet and still, you can't take a flower or a blade of grass, hit concrete, and expect it to break. But the other duality is still true. What that means to me is it kind of puts strength into this weird box of like, nobody's really stronger than anybody. Why are we trying to be stronger? Why do I need to be that over you? I feel like that concept arose from the concept, maybe, potentially, of fighting. Where strength, but even in fighting, strength doesn't always get you the belt, as we see with people like Bruce Lee. You know, even in fighting, being the stronger person contextually doesn't always get you what you want. It approaches just the larger thing in general. And in general, you don't need to have a certain kind of volatile inflection to be anything. And strength certainly isn't to be only quested after. In terms of, like, I feel like as a man, there were times when I was younger when it seemed like being strong, but even can extend to outside of being strong and just being better overall, you know, because conceptually, because of what you can do with it, it may seem that like things like concrete are better than grass. And this isn't real. That's not. I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying how someone could reach a conclusion of that nature by just looking at the surface level. But you take it a layer deeper and remember that grass can cut through concrete, or the little cracks in concrete, and make its own thing happen. From what seems like nothing, it kind of can open up that bucket of like, okay, things aren't as straightforward as I may think they are. And that's just my perspective. I see things as not being very straightforward in life. It's more of like a inexplicable mixture of ever-shifting things that just are what they are and don't necessarily need to be defined by what the human mind can encapsulate. So from that lesson, I would say key thing is, what I would suggest is, if you don't feel strong, examine the measures by which you are assessing your strength. Because potentially, you could have a volatility of strength that is just not what society says is strong. That is a potentiality. So don't see yourself as not strong just upon the basis of what society tells you, is what I would say. See the truth of who you are and see the strength in it. Because as long as you are who you truthfully are, you are strong. It takes strength. It takes strength to be who you truthfully are. Remember that. So as long as you're espousing in that notion of who you truthfully are, you are indeed strong. It's just about finding what makes you strong. That's all. So, I'm going to end off with a little rhyme. Kicking back, thinking about all the times I planned to attack upon the basis that I had to be leaving everything faceless. Now I want to give the track a facelift, but not in a volatile sense, with things that I want to invent, what I want to say into the world, what I want to change, what I want to bring about for all the boys and girls, kids of the future. Don't doubt the youth. That's how we all become losers. Yo, I'm checking everything but my respect at the door. It's hard for me to enter war. I love you because you exist. And I'm supposed to, you idiot. It's hilarious. Why be nefarious? Why be negligent? That one I can see. I'm pretty negligent myself, my G. Can't lie. It happens. But I will never be a part of the other side. So, about me, you'll never have to wonder, why would any person be able to put us asunder? They can't. So, the flow shall proceed thusly. Lots and lots of combustion. Less Russian. I'm funny like Patrice. Less Russian. I'm funny like Patrice. Peace of an absolute nature is what I seek. Is what I still have. Blessings. Episode 5. Peace.
Yo, it never goes beyond true. Sometimes you gotta reboot.